Hello and welcome to part 4 of the Small Nutmeg course. Today we will talk about adjectives and comparisons, two topics that are heavily connected to each other. First, let's look at bare adjectives. Adjectives are words that describe a noun. So for example, in the fast dog, fast is an adjective. It is describing the noun dog. Let's first look at some English examples. The blue flower, a fast dog. The black bow, a smart learner, and so on. What they all have in common is that the adjective comes in front of the noun, directly in front of the noun. Of course, in English we can also say things like the flower is blue instead of the blue flower. The difference here is that the adjective there is connected by a verb, to be. It is blue, to the noun the flower. While in the blue flower there is no verb. It's not a full sentence, just a noun phrase. So we will first look only at these noun phrases and later at full sentences where a verb connects the adjective and the noun. Like I said, in English the adjective always is before the noun. But in Nutmeg is different. It can be both, before and after the noun. Let's look at the translations. Blue translates to ean. Ean actually can mean both blue and green, but we use it here for blue. What you see here is that the ean changes. So the blue flower becomes eana siulang, or siulang aean. So there is the small a which always shows into the direction of the noun. We also see it with the other examples. For example, ween is an adjective meaning fast. A fast dog becomes a nantangtiep a ween, or weena nantangtiep. Again, there's the a connecting the adjective to the noun. And it works the same for all the other examples. The black bow becomes a liona tsko, or tsko a lion. A smart learner becomes a numeyu a ganu, or a ganu a numeyu. We can also have an adjective on both sides. So, the small blue flower, hi'ia siulang aean, or eana siulang a hi'i. And we can add more adjectives with a se, and. The beautiful small blue flower, hi'ia siulang aean se lor. Note that the last adjective, the lor, has no a here, so everything after the se doesn't get an a. Let's look at the rules again. So we have the a, which connects the adjective to the noun. Lora siulang or siulang a lor. You can imagine the a being like a small arrow, always showing into the direction of the noun. We can have two adjectives, one on each side. So, Lora siulang aean, the blue, beautiful flower. And we can connect more adjectives with a se, which means something like and. But that one doesn't get the a. So, Lora siulang aean se hi'i. But why do we need that a? Can't we just put the adjective next to a noun and everything would be clear, like in English, or also in other languages you probably know? Let's consider this sentence. Ikranil ean siulangit sea. If you have followed my other videos and have followed the order of the course, then you probably already know that ikran, the banji, gets an il ending because the subject. Sea is our verb here, to see, so the ikran is the one seen because it has the l ending. And siulang, the flower, has the it ending because it is the thing seen. So the sentence without the ean translates to something like the ikran sees the flower. I guess you already see the problem. Because of the flexible word order which we have, the ikran and the siulang are almost next to each other. The only thing dividing them is, in this case, is our adjective, the ean. So now we know that an adjective can be before or after a noun. So to which noun does it now belong? And in this case we don't know. It could mean the blue ikran sees the flower or the ikran sees the blue flower. This is why we need the a. With the a it becomes clear. So we can say ikranil aean siulangit sea. The blue ikran sees the flower. Here the a shows into the direction of the ikran, so we know it's the blue ikran. Or we can say ikranil eana siulangit sea. Here the a connects the ean to the siulang, so we know it is the blue flower. The ikran sees the blue flower. There are some exceptions where we don't need the a, so let's look at them next. The first one is pretty straightforward. Natvi in most cases doesn't want two of the same vowels next to each other. So if you add a a on the side of the adjective where there is already an a, you don't need to add it. They just melt into one. So, for example, up a, large, is probably the most extreme example because it starts and ends in a. So if I want to say the large forest, it becomes up a natring or natring up a. You see, no extra a. Hona, cute, is a less extreme example. A cute ikran would be hona ikran or ikran ahona. In the second one, we still need to add the a because there is no reason to leave it out. There is no a at the beginning of hona, so we can add another one. Another exception are le adjectives. Le is a small syllable that usually shows that something is an adjective. So if something starts with le, it's very useful to know that very likely it will be an adjective. It basically creates adjectives out of other words. In this example, lehurrab is a noun, danger, and lehurrab then means dangerous. But we cannot do this on our own. So lehurrab we can only use because it's a dictionary. We cannot just randomly put le on everything and then have a new adjective. Only Caillou Paul can do this. So while le is a very good sign that something is an adjective, we cannot create our own adjectives with that. So if we now put the lehurrab after a noun, we don't need the a. We can put it there, but we don't need it. So a dangerous place would be tseng lehurrab or tseng a lehurrab. Please note that it is very common to leave out the a. While a lehurrab is grammatically not wrong, it is very uncommon and very strange. So no one would tell you, oh, you are doing this wrong, but people would more be like, wait, your natvi is kind of strange. What are you doing there? So, but if we put the lehurrab in front of the tseng, then everything stays normal. So it's always lehurraba tseng. You cannot leave out the a there. From rule number 1, that two a combines into one, there is one exception, which is Reef Natvi. Reef Natvi is a dialect of the Natvi language that came with the new movie The Ray of Water. My video series concerns itself mostly with Forest Natvi, which is the dialect we know the most about. But, of course, some people will also learn and use Reef Natvi. So you might see stuff like Hona Ikran with two a. I will always write the Forest Natvi version because, like I said, it's the dialect we know most about and which most resources are about and which most people are going to use. So I just want you to know this exception so you don't get confused if you see people using this, like ap a natring or hona ikran. It exists, it's just not a dialect. As soon as we have more information about this dialect, there will also be an episode in this course about the differences between Forest and Reef Natvi. But this is something for another day. So, now let's look at how to connect adjectives to nouns with a verb. For example, in sentences like, you are fast, he feels sick, or the river smells good, or the sky becomes dark. And this is actually very straightforward and probably much easier than in English, because in Natvi we have the flexible word order, and in such cases we don't need the a. So what we do is we just smash the words together in any random order. So you are fast can become lu win nga, literally are fast you. But we can also use any other order here. He feels sick, bo efo spin. Again, it can be any other order. Next one is a bit more complicated. The river smells good. Gilvaneri faheuf gan lor. Here, this is a structure we will learn in a future video. The Gilvaneri here has always to be at the front. Literally, this means something like, regarding the river, the smell seems or is good or is beautiful. But ignore this example for now. Just know that gan, the verb, can also have an adjective, in this case, lor. And the last example, the sky becomes dark. Slut dau warm, literally, become sky dark. Again, any order is possible. What I already said, there's no a. You only use the a if you directly connect an adjective to a noun. So in English, that would be if the adjective is in front of the noun. But if the adjective is connected by a verb to the noun, so in English, always if the adjective is after the noun, like in these sentences, then you don't need the are. Next, let's look at comparisons. Comparisons are sentences like, he is faster, she is the fastest. Or also if we directly compare two people to each other, for example, she is faster than him, or she is as fast as he is. In English, for the first two, we use endings on the adjective to indicate this. So fast becomes faster. The fastest, or the fast becomes the fastest to show that someone is the most adjective. For the other two, she is faster than him, or he is as fast, she is as fast as he is. We just use special structures. We will look at both, but let's first focus on the first two sentences. In Neytiri, we actually don't use endings on the adjective. Instead, we use adverbs. Neol and frato. Neol means more, and frato basically means than or. Let's look at some examples. You are fast, he is faster, but she is the fastest. Become lu win nga. Po boan win neol lu. So what we basically say is he is more fast. And then she is the fastest. Lu win frato poe. We will learn more about do in a second. Fra is basically something meaning all, everyone. So literally what this means is faster compared to everyone. So, you are fast, lu win nga. He is faster. Boan win neol lu. So he is more fast. She is the fastest. Lu win frato poe. So she is fast compared to everyone. Some more example sense. You run fast. Nga ne win dul. So here we use ne win instead of win. Win is the adjective fast. Ne win is the adverb fast. So you are fast, but you run. Like adjective describes a noun. You run fast, or the dog, or the you are fast, or the dog is fast. Adverbs describe other things. For example, verbs. In this case, how do you run? You run fast. Therefore, we need an adverb here. Nga ne win dul. He runs faster. Ne win neol dul boan. So again, we just add the neol, the more, to indicate that it's faster. She runs the fastest. Poe frato ne win dul. Again, we just need to add the frato. There are some more that are kinda helpful, but not that important actually. We also have ninen, neol and ninennen. Like I said, they can be useful from time to time, but are in my opinion not that important. You run faster and faster would become natul newin neul. Basically, you run more and more, or more and more fast. We also have ninen, which means less. So he is less fast would become boan win ninen lu. And lastly, we then also have ninennen, which basically means something like less and less. So she runs less and less fast would be dul niwin ninennen poe. Let's look at do. Do is a particle which can be translated as than, or like compared to. I like to translate it as literally compared to. And it's a so-called comparative marker. What does it do? So let's look at these examples. You are fast again, but he is faster than you. Lu win nga slap boan do nga lu win. Literally this means he, compared to you, is fast. We can also add the do behind the thing we are comparing to. So I can also say boan nga do lu win, and it means exactly the same. He, compared to you, is fast. Note that there is no neol. In English we use faster. So like win neol. In Neytiri we don't do this. We just use the bare adjective win. So we don't say boan to nga lu win neol. We just say boan to nga or ngato lu win. He, in comparison to you, is fast. We can do the same again with adverbs. So nga ne win dul, you run fast. Ne win do nga dul boan. He, in comparison, or fast in comparison to you runs he. Or then again, nirin ngato dul poan, meaning the same. So, you always have do in front or after the thing you are comparing to. Someone compared to something is adjective. So someone is more adjective than someone else. Then there is a last thing I want to show you today, nift an and na. Nift an is an adverb meaning so or to such an extent. Na is an adposition meaning like. So with these two words we can now build stuff like I am as fast as you. So two people or two things being on the same level of something. Let's start again with our easy sentence, you are fast. Lu win nga. If I now want to say I am as fast as you, what I do is I say oi lu nift an win. So I am fast to such an extent, na nga, like you. Like do, na can also be added at the end of something. So I can also say nga na. So oi lu, I am nift an win, fast to such an extent, na nga, like you. Combined, this then means I am as fast as you. There's also another structure, which uses ngari instead of na nga. Ngari oilu nift an win. The ri is a topical case ending. We will not talk about it in detail today, but will be part of a future lesson. For now, just remember that you can use it in specifically this structure to compare two people and say that they're on the same level. So, ngari oilu nift an win. Regarding you, I am fast to such an extent. And it means exactly the same as the sentence above. So, I am as fast as you. It also works again with adverbs. So, you run fast. Nga nerin dul. Nerin nift an na nga dul poan. Fast to such an extent like you runs he. So he runs as fast as you. Again, we could also say nga na. So nerin nift an nga na dul poan. It's also possible. And again, we can also use this topical again. Ngari poan dul nerin nift an. Concerning you, he runs fast to such an extent. So he runs as fast as you. So let's look at a summary of all of what we did today. Basically today our summary are the words that we need to build these structures. So first we learned neol, meaning more. We can use it to build things like faster or more beautiful. For example, I can say that you are faster. Nga lu win neol. I use the bare adjective win and then neol more. So literally I say you are more fast. We also then have neol more and more. For example, you run faster and faster. Nga dul nerin neol. Then we also have ninen and ninanen. So nga lu win ninen, you are less fast. Nga dul nerin ninanen, you run less and less fast. So basically you run slower and slower. Then we also had frato, then all. So I can say nga lu win frato, you are fast compared to everyone, is what that basically means. Because frato comes from fra, all, every, and to, then, a comparative marker. This one we learned we can use to build comparisons between two things or two people. For example, I can say, you are faster than me. So what I say is nga, you, lu win, are fast, do oe, or oeto, which then means compared to me. So literally what I say is, you are fast compared to me, and that then becomes you are faster. Keep in mind that in English we use faster. So already the basically more, the faster version and not fast, the bare adjective. In Natvi, we use the bare adjective. Nga lu win to oe. You are fast compared to me, not you are faster compared to me. And the last two, which we used in combination, were na, an adposition meaning like, so like someone, and nift an, the adverb to such an extent. With these we learned we can say something like, Nga luwin nift an na oe. Literally, you are fast to such an extent like me. So you are as fast as me. We also learned another structure where we can use the topical to do this. So for example, weri nga luwin nift an. As for me, you are fast to such an extent. But we will talk about the topical in detail in another lesson. For now, just remember that you can also use it in that structure. And yes, if you keep in mind these words, and also remember that you have to put the a next to an adjective if you want to connect it to a noun directly. For example, the fast nantang, we na nantang or nantang arin. If you keep these things in mind, then you should be ready to use adjectives. With that being said, we are done for today. And yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comments here or contact me on Discord. I hope you had a fun time and learned a bit. Hei, ja, da var jeg med fra på.